Hello. All right. We had a little technical difficulties here. I was, for some reason, uh, I wasn't able to get forever get my PowerPoint going. The, I wanted to show this on Saturday, but I was having um, challenges with my computer, so I ended up having to do it all on doing it all on my tablet, which doesn't allow me to share PowerPoint. So okay, I'm uploading the PowerPoint. Which is taking longer than I thought. Should have done this straight up on Zoom. All right, excellent. All right, this um, the all right. So what I do is I help people get some leverage. I get them to a point where they're earning enough money where that money can go into vehicles that can grow for them. Okay, and there's strategies that will reduce their taxation, and so their money can grow faster, get a better rate of return that outpaces inflation, and protects their money. There's all kinds of ways that people are try to get your money through litigation, lawsuits, um, creditors. That just if you're not protecting your assets, somebody's gonna, you're gonna lose out. You're gonna get a divorce, and or you may still be in a marriage. And I was watching, we were watching Breaking Bad, right? That's a whole, scenario on why you need proper financial guidance, right? Asset protection for sure, right? Right. But, all right, so, you know, you know, here it says, "What picks your pocket before you even see financial freedom," right? If you had a penny that was a magic penny that compounded daily, every day, do you know how long it would take to get to $1 million? It would take 27 days, right? In 27 days, you would have $1,342,177.28. But if you tax that money, this magic, I don't have an asset. I don't have a product that has this kind of rate of return, 100% in daily return, right? But if it did, and you tax that money at 25% on the growth. Now, if you know what the real capital gains are right now, it's like 39% um, tax on short-term capital gains. That's what it is right now. Okay, so we're just saying 25%. Okay, at the end of that same 27 days, you would only have $36,478.57. Okay, so I just show this to give you a good idea of why it's important to protect your assets from taxation. Okay. And then you look at this, um, taxes and inflation, right? It's a good example of what ends up happening if you're 22 years old, 22 to 65, counting into 4% annual inflation rate, which is about what it is right now. It's a little bit less than that right now. Okay, that that $1,342,177 after 43 years, the value is your purchasing power is only 249,000 at that time. That's just how it is, man. That's the reality that we live in. Okay, so we got two tradesmen. I like to talk to tradesmen. I like to go talk to welding, uh, electrical, automotive, HVAC, barber colleges. I talk to more of those probably than else, and cosmetology schools. Because once they get their credential and they're competent, they're going to make significantly more money than they've ever made. Okay, so this shows a 22-year-old electrician making $60,000 a year, right? And he saves 6,000 a year, okay, or 10%. Okay, he's got a 401k with a 4% match, so he's he's contributing to the match, which gets him 100% rate of return. I don't have anything that'll do that. Okay, so that, yep, he's going to get taxed later on that amount of money, but he's getting 100% rate of return, and it's tax deferred. And then the other 6% we're going to put into an index universal life. Okay, and that's after tax dollars, but it goes tax deferred, and it's tax advantage, tax free distributions when he takes that money out. Okay, so then we have another 22-year-old electrician making the same money, right? He's putting it all into the 401k, all $6,000 a year into the 401k, 10% of his income. Okay, so he's getting the match 4%, but he's also another 6% that's not matched. Okay. 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 So years 1 and 2, we add a second skill to the to our number one guy. Okay, who's a hustler. Okay, he's got his wage income, he's 60,000 a year, and he's got his side hustle. Okay, and and then we're going to enhance the side hustle. So if this guy on his off time or part time goes into wealthy people's homes or businesses on after hours or on the weekends, and he mounts 4 flat screen TVs, he's going to net $7,500 a week, or a week. That's a month. $7,500 a month, and then we're going to connect him with LED City. LED City. I'll just register him with LED City. They had the first OEM in China manufacturing LED lights. They're out of Dallas, Texas. I used to be their estimator. And they have this awesome digital video wall technology, digital signage. They have their outdoor video walls are made to withstand the Texas heat, okay, which is significant, which is awesome. Um, Having that quality, having that factoring that in. You ever go down the highway and you see the digital signs that are panels are completely blacked out or flickering? That's because the heat got to it. The heat messed them up. Okay, so they have these, but they also have great high resolution digital signs. So if you mounted one 10 by 20 LED video wall in a church or an event center where they do weddings and quinceañeras, um, then or a sports bar or a church, you would equal you that so they would double their income. So doing that for that's just their side gig, right? Okay, so they could be making $15,000 a month on their side gig. Okay, if you do it, so it'd be an electrician. Okay, now at age 24, okay, so 2 years in, we got this guy. He's building up his assets, right? He's got his credit. Credit looks good. Okay, we get him into a 4 unit. Now this is showing with the down payment. Okay, but we can hook him up with NACA. NACA will first-time home buyers can get them 100% financing, no closing costs, no down payment, and a fixed interest rate that is like a point less than the conforming loan rate. Okay, and they'll get them in a 4 unit, and they can lease, or they can live in 1 unit and lease out the other 3 units. Basically, their tenants are paying the mortgage for them. Right, so that's awesome as it is. But then we do something called family banking or infinite banking strategies. That what we do is we open up a whole life policy for him big enough that he can overfund it by the amount of the mortgage on his property. Okay, and then after like a year, he when he contributes, he overfunds the mortgage, overfunds the whole life policy. He can take in a wash loan for the debt service amount and pay the mortgage. So, and basically, these tenants are paying for all this anyways. They're paying. His tenants are basically paying for 2 assets for him. Right, that's exciting. So he earns the income. He's funded the policy. He's building the cash value. Takes a policy loan, and he makes the payment on time. Okay, on the mortgage. The policy loans charge interest. The effective available value, the effective available value and death benefit, and can create a lapse tax rate if the mismanaged. So basically, that's why you fund it for a year before you start taking that money out. Okay, you don't want to lapse your policy. All right, so you don't lapse your policy. Okay, and, but basically, your tenants are your tenants are funding 2 assets for you: your real estate and your policy. Okay, so at age 26, now this guy, he's actually, got into a relationship, probably got married, or she got pregnant, so they buy a house. Okay, he leases the the unit he was living in, he leases that out, so he's going to create more income from the property. Okay, and then we open up another whole life policy for him, and then we open up a index universal life for the significant other. And then we open up a trust for both, put the properties in the trust, a revocable irrevocable living trust or land trust. We have asset access to those resources to do the living trust. Okay, so the real estate land trust for direct holdings, business or other assets, and the irrevocable living trust planning where appropriate. Land policies separately structured when access control interest require it. Um, okay, and then we're also gonna we're gonna you can incorporate. You're gonna start a business, okay, and you'll be able to open up a 401k, do the profit sharing, and cash balance strategies. If he makes enough money, he's up to like $900,000 a year. He can max that out to $460,000. I got somebody right now. Just got a picture of this one. He's in that position. Okay, so by maximizing the 401k and the profit sharing, the cash balance strategies, he's going to save $170,000 in taxes. Okay, that money's going to go tax deferred. He's going to have an income stream between $110,000 and $150,000 a year at age 73. Now, he's got to pay taxes on that money, so we're going to set him up with a supplemental policy that out of that $170,000 a year of taxes that we're saving, we'll take $60,000 of that and increase his protection, get him another index universal life policy, so he has enough tax advantage income to offset what he's got to pay in taxes off his mandatory distributions in age 70. So what we have here, from 27 to 40, he scaled his business. Okay, he's growing the number of employees, increasing his cash flow. He's got a full-time business after approximately 5 years. He has multiple services and contracts. He's got employees and contractors and equipment. He's got property income alongside operations. Okay, so this is where he's at. Okay, now he's got a 401k, profit sharing, cash balance. He's got an HSA, health savings account, index universal life, and a whole life policy, 2 whole life policies. All right, and then we've got him structured in a trust and a corporation and a trust. Okay. He's got an operating businesses. He's got real estate investments. He's got business interests and other non-insurance assets. He's got life policies. So this is his, mission and family legacy that we're working on. Okay. A little disclaimer here: trusts do not automatically defeat marital claims, fraudulent transfer laws, creditors, or litigation. Get qualified counsel before transferring assets. At age 45, he gets divorced. Okay, so he's we're not talking anything about a prenup, but it'd be a good idea. Okay, wouldn't change the decision set. It does not erase the claim. Okay, so we got an illustrative primary home with $600,000, hypothetical 50% spouse settlement, so she gets $300,000. Okay, we've got enough in assets that she can be just paid out. Okay, and take a policy loan from the whole life and the index universal life. Okay, our conventional guy, he's probably going to have to sell the house. Okay, because he's doesn't have enough in assets. Okay, all right. At age 65, he's life's taking a toll on him. Man, I was at Toastmasters last night, and they asked me a question to one of the guys who's in his 50s. He's a runner, and he was swimming. I guess he does triathlons. He was training, and he was swimming, and he hit his finger against the wall at the side of the pool and bruised his finger. And it's like 2 months later, he's still got a sore finger, right? And he goes to the doctor, and the doctor basically says, "Dude, that's what happens when you get old. It just takes longer to heal." Somebody else that's in MMA, uh, the up there in the 40s, right? And they were talking about the same thing. It just takes longer to heal. Uh, keep my fingers crossed. About a year and a half ago now, I was running and a car. Well, the road, the level was uneven, and it caused me to go off balance. And a car was coming by, and so instead of like leaning, falling to my left and getting hit by a car, I went to the right, and there's this culvert. It's basically a ditch that's lined with cement. I fell into that, and it was a deeper drop, like a foot and a half deeper than it would have been if it was just, you know, uh, just the surface of the dirt. And I did a tuck and roll, man, but it jacked up both of my shoulders and my elbows for like a year, and now I'm good, right? But it really got could have messed me up for a long time. All right, so this shows a $6,000 a month living cost of living. Okay, um, 5 years, be $360,000. 10 years, $720,000. Okay, this is what you would need. All right, if you were to go into an assisted living facility. Okay, um, so you need a $2 million in life insurance policy. Up to 90% is accessible for long-term care, catastrophic illness, your assisted living facility, um, all these things. Um, you have to qualify. There's a monthly cap on the benefits. There's, you know, there's a the policy must stay in the full import. So we read all these things, right? So all the disclosures. Okay, but your death benefit in these life insurance policies, not the 90% of it can be accessed to cover long-term care needs. In a long-term care facility, you get Alzheimer's, dementia, get into a bad accident, whatever. Right? All right, and this shows this our builder, our guy that got into the 4 unit, and then got an asset, got a whole life policy at the same time. His tenants are paying for two assets for him. Okay, gets married, um, gets another house, gets another whole life policy. Okay, this guy's got 13 million in assets protected. He's got real estate. He's got his business. He's got um, his cash value policy. Okay, he's got qualified assets in a 401k, profit sharing, cash balance strategies. Okay, so his income, if he pulls 5% out of his assets, he's got a $650,000 annual income. And for the assets coming out of the policies, that's tax advantage, being tax free. Our conventional guy, he's got 1.7 million. He's still a good saver, right? He can get $87,000 a year, but he's going to pay tax on that money. Okay. The significant difference between 5% off your assets at 13 million is 54,167, and 5% out of 87,000 or out of 1.7 for 2 million is $7,253 a month. Okay, significant difference. Okay, and 5% is just an illustration. Okay, just giving you an idea. Okay. Taking enough draw to survive, but not enough to deplete your assets. Okay. Now, at age 73, he's got to take his mandatory distributions. Okay, so to give an example, you got $5 million, taking 3.8%, that's 190 thousand a year. Okay, the the policy distributions don't count. They don't require. There's not big R&D requirements. Okay, the got 190,000 a year out of his qualified assets. Policy distribution 150,000 a year. Net rental income 180,000 a year, and he's got business distribution 400,000. So this guy's got 920,000 a year. This is what I want to do for people. This is what I want to do for those motivated young entrepreneurs, okay, that are learning a trade. All right, and the so this is the presentation. Okay, this is the kind of things that I get people to see, understand, how to make more money and save that money and grow that money and protect that money from inflation and taxes and market volatility. Right, so that's what we do here. Right? And now I have it recorded, and I'll send this out to you. All right, have a great day.